Join me as I dive into my journey of trying to move on from heartbreak. Let's see what unexpected twists come my way. I thought I was doing great, slowly picking up the pieces of my shattered heart and moving on with my life. But little did I know, life had other plans, and what happened next would change everything. After the breakup, I felt like I was trapped in a never-ending cycle of sadness and despair. It was as if I were walking through a dark tunnel, searching desperately for light but finding only more darkness. Each day felt like an uphill battle. Every waking moment was a painful reminder of what I had lost, of the love that once defined my world. I told myself I was strong, that I'd get over it, but in reality, I was barely holding it together. There were days when I couldn't even muster the energy to leave my bed. I would just lay there, staring at the ceiling, lost in a fog of memories and regrets. My appetite vanished, and even simple tasks like brushing my teeth or getting dressed felt monumental. Nights were even harder. I'd lie awake for hours, replaying conversations, imagining different outcomes, or wondering where it all went wrong. And when I did sleep, my dreams were haunted by the past, leaving me more exhausted than before. Social media didn't help. Scrolling through my feed became a form of self-torture. Happy couples, romantic milestones, and worst of all, glimpses of my ex's new life. All of it felt like a cruel reminder of what I no longer had. I tried muting accounts, even deleting apps, but the damage was already done. The comparisons, the envy, the heartbreak, it all lingered in my mind, making the healing process even harder. Meanwhile, life around me continued moving forward, and I felt stuck in quicksand. Friends were thriving, falling in love, advancing their careers, planning adventures, and while I was happy for them, it only deepened my sense of inadequacy. Why couldn't I move on like they had? I put on a brave face, smiling and nodding as though everything was fine, but inside, I was drowning in sorrow. In an effort to regain control, I decided to keep myself busy. I picked up hobbies I hadn't touched in years, painting, journaling, even yoga. I said yes to social invitations, even when I didn't feel like going. I forced myself to go on a few dates, telling myself it was time to get back out there. But it all felt empty. Like I was living someone else's life, going through the motions of what I thought healing should look like. The truth was, I was still holding on, gripping tightly to a relationship that no longer existed. I'd catch myself scrolling through my ex's social media, dissecting every post for hidden meanings or signs of regret. I'd go out of my way to pass by places we used to frequent, hoping for an accidental run-in. I convinced myself it was harmless, but deep down, I knew I wasn't moving forward. Then came the turning point. One day, in a moment of desperation, I decided to start journaling. I didn't have a plan. I just needed a place to unload the weight I was carrying. At first, it felt strange, awkward even. But as I let the words flow, something shifted. Writing became my sanctuary, a space where I could pour out my anger, my sadness, and my longing without judgment. I wrote about my fears, my insecurities, and the things I couldn't say out loud. And in doing so, I started to uncover truths about myself that I had been too afraid to face. That was the first real step in my healing journey. But what happened next truly changed everything. I ran into my ex at a mutual friend's party. It was unexpected, and for a moment, time seemed to stand still. My heart raced, my palms grew clammy, and every buried emotion came rushing back. I debated leaving, but something inside me told me to stay. We ended up talking. A casual conversation that felt anything but. Seeing them again, hearing their voice, it brought a wave of clarity I hadn't anticipated. I realized that I had been holding onto an idealized version of our relationship, a fantasy of what could have been rather than the reality of what was. And in that moment, I understood something important. The person I had been mourning wasn't the same anymore, and neither was I. That realization was freeing. I wasn't just letting go of the relationship. I was letting go of the version of myself that depended on it for happiness. I was reclaiming my identity, my independence, and my power. It was as if a weight had been lifted, and for the first time in months, I felt like I could breathe again. Moving on doesn't mean forgetting the past. It means learning to live with it, to honor it as a chapter in your story without letting it define the rest of your life. It means embracing the pain, not as an enemy, but as a teacher, a reminder of your resilience and capacity for growth. The journey wasn't easy. There were setbacks, moments when I felt like I was right back where I started. But with each passing day, I grew stronger. I learned to celebrate the small victories, like laughing with friends, discovering new passions, or simply waking up without a heavy heart. Today, I'm in a place I never thought I'd reach. I've rediscovered parts of myself that I had forgotten. My creativity, my adventurous spirit, my love for quiet moments of solitude. I've built a life that feels authentic and fulfilling, not because of someone else, but because of who I've become. If you're going through a breakup, I want you to know this: healing takes time. It's messy and nonlinear, and sometimes it feels like you're making no progress at all. But trust me, every small step matters. Be patient with yourself. Allow yourself to grieve, but don't forget to celebrate your strength along the way. You are capable of moving forward, of finding happiness again, not by erasing the past, but by learning from it and growing into the person you were always meant to be. Thank you for listening to my story. If you've been through a similar journey, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Let's support each other as we navigate the ups and downs of love and heartbreak.